Hi guys, this is a quick immersion video that will hopefully help you with your topic and writing this week. So as we can see, it's going to be an information text about Dambusters. The first thing to note is that this is going to be a non-chronological report, so that means that it doesn't have to be written in time order. Okay? A couple of other things to think about when you're writing an information text. Obviously it's going to include facts, information, some dates. Also, it's going to be organised into subheadings so that you can make sure the information is organised clearly. Okay? Now, we've got a couple of links that we have sent out on your packs. These are to help you to find some information. That's not to say you can't go away and find out some extra information by yourselves. So pause the video here, maybe make a spider diagram, present your information clearly, and then come back to the video and we'll go through some of that information and a modelled write. Okay, so as you can see, I've picked out some key information from our video and text. So first of all, we can see that it was the RAF's 617 Squadron, and it was assembled in March 1943, so towards the end of World War II. It was also known as Operation Chastise, and the objective was to bomb 3 dams in Germany's heartland, which was the Ruhr Valley, just 2 months later. Now the Ruhr Valley, we found out during the Treaty of Versailles during World War I, was taken away from Germany, and it was an industrial part of Germany where lots of the factories were, and it was a very lucrative part of the country for Germany. 2 months later, they didn't have very long to plan this very, very dangerous mission. The raid took place on the night of May 16th and 17th, and it involved 133 aircrew flying 19 specifically adapted Lancaster bombers. Of the 19 crews that set out on the raid, 8 did not return, and that shows the danger and the kind of bravery that these men showed by going on this mission. The man who came up with the bomb, or the bouncing bomb, was Barnes and Wallace, and it was also known as upkeep. Now the bomb would bounce across the water, almost like a stone that skims across the water, and then it would detonate at 30 feet below the water. Now the reason it needed to detonate so low was because these dams were protected by anti-torpedo nets, so they needed to sink to a certain level before they could explode. Initially, Barnes Wallace, he was faced with opposition, and it was seen as a bit of a crazy idea, so he had to convince the people in the military that this was going to work and this was going to change the tide of the war. Now, moving on to our modelled write. This is an example of our introduction. So, in our introduction, I'll just quickly have a look. We want to know what the purpose was straight away of Operation Chastise, how was it going to work, and what were they going to use. So just some brief background information. We don't want to give everything away in our introduction. So during March 1943, a specially assembled aircrew were formed to complete a top secret mission, Operation Chastise, to attempt to change the tide of the war. Formed from the RAF 617 Squadron, the Dambusters were assigned to the crucial role of bombing 3 dams in Germany's industrialised heartland, the Ruhr Valley, just 2 months after its formation. The dams were seen as important strategic targets, as well as providing hydroelectric power and pure water for steelmaking. They supplied drinking water and water for the canal transport systems. 19 specially designed Lancaster bombers were tasked with the treacherous journey into the German stronghold. Barnes Wallace came up with the idea, popularly called the bouncing bomb, although known by its code name as upkeep. The bomb was designed to bounce across the surface of the water, subsequently detonating at 30 feet below the water, bombing from an altitude of 60 feet, or 18 metres, and airspeed of 240 miles per hour, 390 kilometers an hour, and at set distance from the target, called for experienced expert crews. Intensive nighttime and low altitude flight training began. There were also technical problems to solve, the first one being to determine when the aircraft was at optimum distance from its target. So, if we look at our success criteria, I've highlighted some of these in our write, so a range of powerful adjectives. Doesn't just have to be to describe the Dambusters, but we've given you some examples. So I've highlighted some here: specially assembled crews, top secret mission, industrialised heartland. So they give us a little bit of description and make it a little bit more exciting to read. Again, optimum distance, intensive nighttime and low altitude flights. In terms of our conjunctions, we talked about this a lot before we broke up. Trying to use some higher level ones. So as we can see here, we've got as well as, subsequently. I know we've got really good at using although in our writing. The use of brackets will be to add extra bits of information. So this will be for our parenthesis. These pieces of writing are a really good opportunity to do that because you can add that extra bit of information in our information text. Operation Chastise, talking about the industrialised heartland and then using that extra information that we know from our research that is the Ruhr Valley, and also the speeds which we've kind of converted into different measurements. Okay? Cohesive devices, making sure that our writing flows. We don't just want to be referring to them as the Dambusters every single time, otherwise it's going to become repetitive. So we've got aircrew, squadron, Lancaster bombers, the aircraft, expert crews. Okay, so it's about replacing the Dambusters with different ways of saying it. Okay? Okay, so like we said in our message, each day if you just write one really detailed paragraph for us. So on day one, you can go through the introduction. We've got some key questions here that you can answer. Make sure you're thinking about the success criteria when you're doing it. Again, day two, we're going to talk about the formation of the Dambusters, how they were formed, who was selected, and what training they undertook. And this will come from a research. And then day three, what actually happened. So Operation Chastise, when was it? What were the targets? How was the raid carried out? And basically what actually happened. If there are any extra subheadings that you want to include, or if you want to slightly change the subheadings, that's fine. Just make sure that you organise it in a nice, clear way. And we can't wait to see some of your work that you will send in when you have done it. Hope this helps. Thank you very much.